Hey guys, so today I want to share something with you a little bit different than my normal vlog. I was flipping through my phone, looking at my old pictures, and I saw this picture back in November, the week of Thanksgiving, 2018. And my grandpa had just had a massive stroke and was in the last days of his life. But this was the night in the hospital when we got there as soon as we could. And it was the last time me and my grandpa ever got a chance to look at each other before he kind of slipped away and began his process towards the end of his life. And so it got all these emotions stirring in me and got me thinking, and just another reminder, here I am now, let's see, December, January, February, 4 months, almost 4 months after, and I'm still grieving. I'm still in the process of grieving, and I still miss him, and still think about him a lot. So my aunt actually made me this cool pillow. So it's made from one of his old shirts. So thanks, Aunt Janie. And so I actually get reminders of him a lot in my daily life, and get to see that every day. And so about 2 years ago, I posted a video on Vimeo for him and my family of his life. We didn't know a lot about how he grew up and where he grew up and all that. And so a few years ago, me and my dad, after I think it was Christmas, we went and we recorded a whole day of where he grew up and how he grew up. And he told stories, and we drove around. And then a couple weeks after, we went and sat down in his kitchen and heard stories and recorded the audio from those stories, and kind of put together a small picture of maybe what his life was like. And so it was really awesome. Me, my son Emery, my dad Dean, and my grandpa Kurt. So we had 4 generations of Ramsey men getting to do this. Now, I made this video a couple years ago, and I couldn't actually get back to the source file to change the audio and do some settings things that I would normally do now. So you'll notice a definite difference in the video and the audio tracks I use, but you get the idea. It's a tribute. Enjoy it. Until now, I pretty much just shared that with my family, but I'm going to post it here. And it's long, so if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. There'll be another video coming out soon. But this is for my grandpa Kurt. Thank you for loving people when they didn't deserve it. Thanks for never saying an ill word about anybody or anything. Thanks for teaching me how to use the lathe. Thanks for teaching me how to weld. Thanks for showing me how to do all the woodworking that I know how to do. Thank you for hanging out with me for a couple years on Fridays with me and Emery, taking me to lunch so many times. And thank you in general for just showing me and showing all those around you that stuff doesn't matter, but your family and people around you are what really matter. We miss you. We love you. And this is for you. Thanks, Grandpa.
Gilbert C., November 14th, 1895 to 72. August 16th, 1972.
And I never did hear him swear or talk about anybody, really. But one time when I think Mother maybe was in the hospital for something, and I stayed at Anna Island, I both did, stayed down at Anna and Uncle Walter's, and Uncle Walter would swear quite a bit. And then Anna said, no, and I did too. Just after he said that, I swore after. And she said, if you do that again, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. And sure enough, I did that again and got my mouth washed out with soap.
Your mother lived several years after.
She sure did.
82, 92, 21 years.
21 years, yep. house, Brian, is the one where the picture was taken with me standing in the window.
Yeah, and there's
Josephine Ramsey didn't get married until after her mother passed away.
Yes, that's right. She lived with
But she stayed with her, so until she had passed away, and then she, at that time, then I wonder if she dated Grandpa before that, or if she even knew Grandpa.
I'm not sure.
Now, Paul
Clove was Grandma Josephine Ramsey's father.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Phoebe Clove
Was her mom.
her mom. And Paul died when he was 57 years old and 3 months in 1907. And Phoebe died when she was 68 years old, and she died in 1925.
Elsie?
Clarence is her boy. And the other boy, Earl, lived in Texas. When he died, he didn't come up here.
So Elsie was
My mother's oldest sister. She'd scare me to death. We'd go up there to reunions or something, and she'd take after me. I don't know why she didn't bother her eye, but she'd grab me, you know. And
Who was this?
that would be my second cousins.
Sampson's.
When do you first remember like radio?
At the home place.
Oh, you do?
A battery. And then when we lived at the Helmuth place, Dad put up a wind charger on the building and run line in there, so we had enough to hear the radio.
And that was about it.
Just a wind charger, you know, up and had it.
And what kind of things at the home place do you remember listening to on the radio?
Lum and Abner, I guess. But I know we had a battery, and when it would get down, you'd have to go get it charged somewhere.
That look like it?
Yeah, that's it. I thought it was white once upon a time, but it wasn't.
Were you born in the house?
Aaron and Melton both was born there.
Who?
Yeah, Aaron, my cousins.
Oh, really? They lived there before you guys?
Yeah, I think when they moved out, the folks moved in.
So Grandpa, your dad, he didn't work another job. He
Only carpenter work part-time.
So like all the time, part time, or just in like?
No, just when something, there was a group that went down around and done carpenter work, you know, and there was about 5 of them, Bob and Diz Miller and, who was it, about 3 or 4 others.
And what kind of carpentry work? Like, did you build cabinets? Or?
Repairing houses or adding on or barns. But that bench out there, workbench, that come from the Helmuth place. And he didn't build it, but it was there. I reckon he bought it because he moved it different places.
But he farmed full time.
Of course, some places it wasn't too much, you know. He never did farm. I don't think any more than 160 acres anywhere.
Huh.
But that was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
For a horse and one tractor or whatever? 2
horses and with a corn planter, you rode on the back. You know.
did Grandpa do with you when you were little? I mean, did he play with you, or
Yes,
what kind of things did you do?
played catch ball, some, but never. Well, then we didn't go to sports at school,
What do you remember about your mom and dad's relationship?
Well, I never heard them fight.
Were they affectionate? Did they kiss each other?
No,
in front of you?
I never seen them kiss each other, or even hug each other. I don't guess.
You don't remember that ever?
They probably did.
Yeah.
I never seen any of my aunts or uncle hug each other.
So affection wasn't a big thing.
No,
So did your dad ever hug you? No, you were never
not
hugged?
that I remember.
I never remember being hugged by your dad.
I think I was spoiled maybe a little bit.
So
What do you think you're spoiled?
Well, when I was a little kid, long before this, we'd go to picnics or somewhere, and he'd take the icing off of the cake and give me the icing.
And he'd eat the cake.
Emery, this is your great-great-great-grandpa. What do you think? This is where he lives. What do you think about that? I wonder what Alfred would think about you right now in 2016 almost.
Where's Alfred?
He'd say, that's a good-looking Ramsey right there. Do you think Alfred would think you're a good-looking Ramsey, Emery?
Yeah.
He'd say, that's a good-looking Ramsey.
This is Otto's and Sue's son that was killed in the knife accident. It's Alfred. He was a namesake.
Great-grandpa. That's a lot of greats, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. His name was Samuel.
But Samuel was my great-grandfather, wasn't he?
So Samuel, Grandpa wouldn't have remembered him. Because Samuel died in 1882 and Grandpa wasn't born until 1896 or something.
Yeah.
Because you can't find past Samuel. You can't find what his dad was. I don't know. It gets confusing. So it's your turn to take over, Dad. You gotta find out the mystery. Where these 3 silos are, right?
Yeah.
And there used to be a house out close to the road?
No, back on where that first silo is.
Okay, is that next to it, or they put the silos there
It had,
since then?
them pictures, but it had going out west, the main part of the house, and there was a room or two out west, and it had up on cement something up pretty high on it.
Okay. So it was up higher off the ground then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And was your room upstairs?
Yeah, in the main parts. I
In the
don't.
main part of the house. And it did not have electricity.
Oh no.
And then out of the, you had dairy cattle.
Mm-hmm.
You milked there. And you said you thought you had sheep there?
Mm-hmm.
And pigs too, right?
Pigs
And pigs.
mm-hmm.
Chickens.
and horses.
Mm-hmm.
2 horses. Eldon and Isla and I, we went back there one time, and it didn't snow, but like bugs come down. We was on an old horse. I guess we was in an old buggy. And Eldon said, the world's coming to an end. And a guy called John Nee, and he's the same one, they found a tree that had honey in it, and he took a big bite of the honey and had bees in it, honey bees. And I guess he really stuttered then, because he stuttered quite a bit.
Obviously remodeled this a lot.
See that main part of the house, Ryan, that goes this way?
Mm-hmm.
That's the original house.
Mm-hmm. And that was, that's the year Mother had the Ramsey reunion and the Claus reunion too.
So this was the non-powered place.
Yeah, you mean no electricity?
Yeah, no electricity.
Yeah. And the next one was the same. About seeing the hobos, and I was going into Santa Fe to visit somebody, and I walked through and there was 3 guys laying over there under a tree, but they act like they's asleep, and I hope they was. So I started running, and I really took off. I don't think I stopped running until I got to Santa Fe.
So what was your impression of the hobos?
I don't know, I guess they were just out of luck and didn't have any money.
Were you afraid of them?
No, I think I was then with 3 of them, and I was about as far as. And one time, Annie and Walter, they was gone, and they never locked their house. And when they come home, and Anna knew there was a pie missing. So somebody went in there and got the pie, and quite a while later, there was a tree down along the railroad, on their farm, and they found a pie plate. So and probably he was hungry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what was that, the first house that had electricity?
Go Boy stove, and it was good stoves.
What did they run on?
Wood or coal.
Because you moved to the Helmuth place after Weitzel, and there was no electricity.
Yeah, that's right. And that was a big drop down.
It's hard to live. What's it like living with and then not?
I guess we got used to it, I guess.
This is the Helmuth place.
That was a log cabin, and I didn't know that. But Kelton Labengood said, "Oh, they tore that log cabin down."
So you lived in a log cabin then?
But it was covered. You couldn't tell it.
Right. Is the one that took you to the hospital if there was a injury or?
Yeah.
They also had the ambulance service.
And then when I got this, we lived out at the Helmuth place, and that's when Kurt Beam, when he got up, he's out in the woods, and he walked around near the Pete Bontriggers, and he knew that Pete wasn't there, so he went on down to Labengood's.
And you're talking
the ambulance come.
when you had the wreck into the culvert.
Yeah. And I remember I asked Warren Laird when we got in, he said, "You think I'm going to make it?" He said, "Oh, yeah, you'll be all right." And Lauren Burke, he was still knocked out.
Okay, so these are where they used to have the big culverts right here over this, right?
There was big culverts.
Concrete,
yeah, pretty tall.
And you guys we're going what direction?
going east.
You're going east, heading towards us, and you went off the road and you hit the one right over here.
I think he was swerving in the road.
Oh, messing around?
Kurt Beam, he was kind of a wild driver.
And you hit the one on this side?
Yeah.
And then
Lauren and I was in the rumble seat. And when I woke up, I was down the ditch, so I don't know how I got out of the car. But Lauren was still in there. We had to help pick him up, I know, when Laird got here.
And the guy that was driving was back in the woods.
He woke up back in the woods.
I forgot that.
Wow.
And he ran to the corner to try to get some help.
Yeah, he come back and then run up there, and then he went on down to
We
Laban.
done too.
And that's when you lived down here.
Yes. Then I said something about this, turned on the siren, and he said, well, that caused more confusion. But Lauren Burke was pretty bad because he stayed in the hospital quite a while.
And did you guys all ride together in the same ambulance, or?
Yeah. Kurt Beam, and they put Lauren on a stretcher, but Kurt and I sat in where we could set up. Yeah, I remember.
So you had your cheek. I always knew about your cheek injury.
Mm-hmm.
But then you said the other day that it also cut your hand real bad on your fingers. Yeah.
There, clear around.
I never knew that. So it must have split that open when you wrecked.
Well, it was down to here, yeah.
So it's something hit you here and it split you all the way back.
We was in the rumble seat.
It was normal to ride in a rumble seat back then like that?
Yeah,
That was acceptable?
yeah.
No seat belts?
But if you didn't go back and forth in the road, then
So what caused that accident?
I think Kurt, was he don't remember doing that, but then I know he got clear down in the ditch and he couldn't bring it back up, and he probably didn't know that culvert was there. He's still living.
Is it?
He was 4 years older than me.
What kind of car were you guys driving?
32 Chevy. I wish I could. I've seen that Sentinel over there at Emsley's a long time, and I thought, boy, I'd been nice. I should have got that, but
And because it was that car, wasn't it?
yeah. You see, they rattled on the front part of the house.
Is this the house?
This is the house.
How long did you work the railroad?
About 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks.
I just made one trip, pay trip, because on a Sunday, I think I went out on a Saturday and got home, and 8 hours they could call you back. So they called me, and I said, oh, I don't believe I'm going to go. And said, are you sick? And I said, no. And so he said, well, you never get on a railroad anymore. And I said, I don't want to. On a bicycle, and I got to go, and she said, how do I get out and stop this thing? I said, well, you just have to go, it runs out of gas.
It was here? Because when you lived here, it was your high school. You were in high school, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your dad just had one tractor here?
Mm-hmm.
For 160
and two
acres.
horses.
160 acres, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Quite a bit. But he didn't have lights on that tractor, but he used to hang a lantern down over the ferry. It'd be on this side on the ferry.
Yeah.
A lantern, and he'd plow after dark.
Wow. This is completely different, Ryan. This is what I want to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a corn crib that sat right at this edge of the property, and then a big barn, and then that metal barn was not there. There was a chicken house that sat back over in that corner.
And there was a garage over on the other side on the road, but then Dad moved it over here on this side. And then he fixed a drive there, and then he made wood 2x4s put in the ground so cows couldn't walk out.
And that was a wood shop.
Mm-hmm.
That was my grandpa's wood shop.
Mm-hmm. And I helped put the auto boys, and I part of that on. And then we had a paint sprayer down at the lumberyard, and I painted some of the house.
Your dad must have was able to secure to buy his first farm.
Yeah.
Up there, Curve Color. So you guys were moving again.
And you thought that was probably like just through an auction somehow. He found out about the land being for sale, and
Or it might have been like we bought this,
yeah, right.
It was probably advertised. And what Dad gave $250 an acre, I think.
And there were 60 acres.
60. Yeah. My dad lived up at the north of Converse. When they pick corn then, they left a lot of them. You'd go out and pick corn up and put it in a pile. And I think we was picking it up and throw it in the wagon. And there was a mouse there, and Dad got the mouse and held it up. Janie, and she about went crazy.
Yeah.
She's scared to death of it. That was a bad move when we moved up to Elgies. John
Oh, it
Logan.
was?
Oh, John Logan just gave me the dickens, taking them little kids way up there out in the country. And, But then I was getting laid off some at Delco, and I thought, well, that'd be a good place, but then after we went up there, I never got laid off then.
Yeah.
What would you tell, as far as if Emery's saying, man, how should I live my life? What's the most important thing? What would you tell them? This is your chance to speak into their lives and say, hey, this is what's important in life.
Mm-hmm. Being a Christian, I guess. But I never, at McGrawsville Church, there were several of us was baptized then, but I wasn't really a Christian then. I guess I was, but it wasn't like, think you ought to.
Do you remember when you got saved?
Mm-hmm. I went over to work in Columbia then. It was 50. And I went over and puttied windows at the church all around. And when I come down to the back of it, and I walked around there, I thought, I'm going to stop here and pray. And I did.
And that's when you accepted Jesus as your Savior?
Mm-hmm.
Where at Miami?
Bennett Switch.
Bennett Switch.
And you did that for Grandpa, didn't you? You were working through the lumberyard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he just sent me
put
over
new
the
glass in, or
It was just puttying glass in the church.
so it was at Bennett Switch Church is where you got saved.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know you were saved?
I don't know, I felt,
Just knew?
yeah,
So did you go home and tell Mom?
I think so.
Don't remember too much about that, huh?
No. I guess when we started going to Florida, we enjoyed life then, Because that all the time, and I farmed some, even when I moved up to Elgies. And you mean any one great big thing, huh?
Just what's your favorite? It could be nothing big. Could be
Well,
mundane, but
When we went to Florida, we enjoyed that.
when did you start going to Florida?
1960, when we moved up to Elgies. And that was the silliest thing, because we moved there in March and we went to Florida. Because Island Earl anyhow, he come out every night and fed the pigs up there.
For you?
And I had enough feed, to last a week.
That would have been at Christmas, right?
March, you said.
Yeah. Because Don Caldwell said, you ought to take them little kids. Even if you have to borrow money, you ought to take them. He didn't say he'd loan me the money or give me the money, but they was good to us, so that was good.
You met Grandma through school.
I was friends with Wanda Lou before that.
Who's Wanda Lou?
Krishner, short Krishners.
You guys dated a little bit?
Not really dated, but
Went
ball
to dinner.
games and stuff.
Sat next to each other?
Yeah.
But then you liked Grandma.
Yeah, and then Short was with Mary Marie for a short time, and they found out they was a little relation back the line, so we switched.
And what would a date look like? Would you go see a movie?
Yeah, yeah. And one time,
You met Grandma and you would go... Did I remember a story about you guys driving around the square in Kokomo?
yeah, some.
You guys would...
And we went to Peru a lot, too, because we was both, you know.
Didn't you say
Yeah, you used to could just drive around.
cruise the square?
Yeah,
Just slow drive it, huh?
yeah.
Are you showing off your car or...
I don't know.
So when did you know it was serious with Mom?
Well, then we broke up a while, and Mary Marie saw my dad, and she spelled out to him, you know, that she really liked me and all that, you know.
Where'd you see him at?
In Peru,
Is it
somehow.
Oh.
And I don't remember, because I wasn't there, but I know, and then she told him how much she loved me, you know, and wanted to get back together. So Dad got after me when we got home. She said, she's a pretty nice girl. You better hang on to her.
Oh.
So it's got us back together.
Grandpa was a wise guy.
So do you remember how you did that? You didn't call her, did you?
When we was kind of split up, she went with Lauren Burke.
Mm-hmm.
And they went up by the frog pond, that, you know, north of... And she said, I said, yeah, that's where everybody went to, you know, to...
Kiss.
Yeah. Just like going across the Wildcat or the bridge, you know.
That's right.
That's
Going
right.
across the Stonehill Bridge.
Going across the
Yeah.
this is my kissing bridge.
Yeah. She didn't, she just dated him once, though, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just couldn't live up to you. So, question for you.
And when I come back, that's when we was in the wreck before that, so he went a long time before that.
Oh, that's right. He was in the wreck
He
with
was
you in
in
the
the
back
wreck.
seat, wasn't he? In the rumble.
Yeah, him and I in the rumble, and Kurt was in the front.
So, how did you ask Grandma to marry you?
I never asked Melvin.
You didn't?
We bought the ring. She went in at Hetzner's. Hetzner's, yeah. And we bought the ring, and then we got out in the car, and there, I asked her.
In the car?
Give her the ring, yeah.
Right
So
away.
she helped pick it out.
Yeah.
So do you remember how you got to that point? How did you get to the point of even thinking about that you were going to get married?
I don't know.
It's a big decision.
Did you think about it before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.